Wrap it up, fold it up, legs go wherever they need to go. If you've been walking a lot lately, which a lot of people are, just to get out, get around the block, you may need to sit up on a pillow. The hip flexors might just be a little grumpy with us. So we're not going to hit it too terribly hard today, but yes, we are going to train on the wall. And so you're just going to need a little bit of space. If you don't have space, then don't worry about it. Don't, that's like, don't suddenly have your OCD kick in and go, oh, I need a wall. This is an anti-OCD joint. So if you don't have a wall available, then you just don't. That's perfectly fine. So let's see what the world has to say today. The universe. We'll just take that one. Pathways. As a man that looks like he is growing out of a tree. So as you settle in, I do like to choose a little bit of a meditative piece, and this is from the Peace Oracle set. The quote is by Bob Dylan. So it's the Pathways card. And today we're going to be talking about identifiers and attachments. So I suspect pathways are very similar. So Bob Dylan said, I was born, you know what? Start over. I just realized I didn't plug y'all in and you probably can't hear me. Okay. And back to business. We can hear me? Go. Okay, there we go. A lot better. All right. So pathways and identifiers. Bob Dylan. I was born very far from where I was supposed to be, and so I'm on my way home. Hidden roads to other possibilities and realities are open to you right now. Whichever path you choose, there will be no need for turning back. All roads lead to the same sweet destination. When the mind is calm and you know where you long to be, you will find your way home. So pull a breath in, breathe it out. And the meditative affirmation that is offered today is everything is possible through love. I walk the road to my dreams and live in an inspiring and fulfilling life. God is my companion. I am eternally loved and guided. There are no wrong turns, only interesting detours and side lessons. All roads lead to peace. I walk with them in love. Breathe into that. I walk with them in love. The parts of me that I might not talk nicely to. It's all still parts of me. Those are the parts that are me that I don't identify with. So bring in a breath and expand through the rib cage as deep and as wide as you can. And then release it. 2 more times. Breathe it in. Expand. Press. And then when the breath is ready to go, release that. And then 1 more time. Breathe. Really grow in the moment. And then release. So today, we're going to bring our mirrors up in front of us. We're going to talk about the identifiers. And from the meditation card, pathways. We've taken pathways, lots of pathways to get to whom we are at this moment. So we're going to hold our mirror up in front of us throughout class. And we're going to really see what we see, because what we identify with is what we want to see in that mirror. And We want to make sure that we're not attached to the identification. Because then maybe it'll make me stuck in my ways. So pick a hand, either hand. It's going to come up. You can hold it right in front of your face if you want to. You could hold it off to the side. You could hold it down in front of you. You could fold one hand in behind it to support it if you needed to. With eyes open and a deep breath, bring to mind 3 things that you identify as or with. For example, I'm a yoga instructor. I identify as a yogi. I identify as a mother. I identify as a lover. So bring 3 things into your being. Let them surface. It might take a couple of seconds. Don't force them. See what arises. And once those 3 things arise, clean through it with a deep breath. Look at each one briefly and identify a positive or negative aspect to it. As in, okay, I like that one, or maybe I don't like that one. Notice if those 3 things are where you want to be right now. And then with a breath, we're going to clean the mirror. The arms are going to come together in front. They're going to reach up. Palms turn out, sweep out. Bring them back in. Press up. So if there's a giant mirror in front of you and it was all fogged up, we talk a lot in yoga about not seeing ourselves clearly. You know, we talk a lot in our household about not using negative speech patterns when we talk about ourselves. And it's tough once that has started. Self-effacing humor is funny, and it may not be healthy. So it's an and thing. Reach. Move out beyond the shoulder plane. Really press up and out. So our mirrors are fogged. The pathways that have led us to where we are might not be clear because the mirror is fogged. So clean the mirror one more time. Press. Really reach out and then let the hands walk out. The backs of the hands first. If leaning forward, this is just too early on in practice for you, find little ways to do it. But I've got the back of the hands into the mat. I've got the palms facing up. I've got 2 mirrors. Bring up one of the things that you identify as. Does it fit in this moment? Do you live that aspect of your life fully? And did you develop it yourself, or is it something you've been living because it was a seed that was planted within you? Then slide the hands back in toward you. Flip your mirrors over. Fingertips touch first. The heels of the hands come forward. This is not comfortable for all bodies. So you may need to put them on either sides of the mat and press in if you've got carpal tunnel. So you can wander in, but I've got my hands with my fingertips pointing back, pressing down into the floor. Or out to the side, and I'm wobbling in. So press in, take a deep breath wherever you are. And just settle into the sensation. If the wrists or the fingers are particularly achy, breathe with a little gratefulness into the pathway that led you there. And then begin to play with this. One hand might go forward, one hand might go back, one hand might turn to the side. We might turn them in on each other. You might be able to really bend in, you might not. If you need to change the configuration of your legs, do that. Make sure you try some things that feel a little strange, because humans are great at finding something that feels comfortable and then doing that over and over again so that we continue to feel that way. Sometimes it's an avoidance of something else, and it's another aspect of our lives that we identify with, but yet we don't like. So find a hand position of choice. It might be a challenging hand position. It might be an easy hand position. Hold there and decide what it says about you, about what you chose. Next breath that comes in releases the hands. They slide back up in front of the body. Cup one hand behind the other. Shoot those hands up. Clean the mirror. Sweep out and around, giving those wrists a bit of a break. 2 more times. Sweep up, out, and around. And sweep up, out, and around. Now this time we're going to sweep. We're going to rise. We're going to hold in a wide V. Shoulder blades slide together. Check in with the back side of the torso. That posterior chain, really pull attention into that space. Breathing in, breathing out. And then let the hands settle back into that mirrored space. It doesn't have to be right in front of you. We're going to take our feet and put them side by side. If you're on the edge of a cushion, really tip that tailbone behind you. Pull the heels in as far as they will go. Reach up and out. Big wide V. Swim down. Bring those hands out. Let the head hang heavy. And hold. So as you hold here, allow to surface the most positive aspect of yourself that you identify with. Your most loved aspect, the aspect from which you then present yourself to the world. And then ask yourself if you're attached to that. And if that doesn't make any sense, look back in the last week, days, months, if that aspect of you has been challenged. Maybe it's been hard to find people to give it to because we can't really leave our homes. Next time you breathe, roll that body up, clasp onto the ankles, and let the knees have a little butterfly. The next breath in, we pause the butterfly, but then that right arm lifts. We rotate back. Keep a hold of that ankle or that shin, or maybe even the inner thigh if you've got the legs way out in front of you. That hand is going to switch over to the back side of your body. We're holding on to one aspect of ourselves in the front, locking that core in, and then we're pressing ourselves forward into the future with that backhand. Because if I'm not moving forward, then what am I? Am I fighting hard to keep everything exactly the same every day? So therefore, I feel like my life is crumbling right now because things are not the way I would want them. Breathe in, breathe out, sweep up, down and in, exchange which hand is holding and how you're holding. Sweep up with that left, rotate, hang on with that front hand as a representation of what I am holding on to, what I'm attached to. And that back hand lifting and pressing so that maybe, just maybe, I'm pushed out of my comfort zone just enough to have to make a few adjustments. Breathing in, breathing out, sweep up, back and forward. Take the feet, set them out wide, wide leg forward fold. I like to do this on this third exercise day of the week because we really do push hard in weightlifting. Press in forward, pull the collarbones forward. If you're up on a little cushion, make sure that that tailbone is pressing back toward the wall. But then take your mirrors, flip those palms over, face them toward you. So you have to hold on in the torso a little bit so that not much pressure is put on the backs of these hands. Gaze into the mirror. And that aspect of yourself that you most often present to the world, that piece of you that you truly identify as, how has it been challenged? Have you had to make adjustments? Because there could just be a greater version of yourself waiting on the other side after that personality evaluation and after I detach from who it is that I think I am. Flip one hand over, flip the other, walk them forward as far as you are comfortable. Latch on to your mat or your floor, pull the collarbones through, and then on the next big exhalation, round down to wherever you are most comfortable. If you need to walk back up because you found yourself really uncomfortable, walk back up. Find the breath space. The one thing I've been talking about this week is I feel like I was insulted this week. And it really rattled me because I challenged someone's belief unknowingly. So then they challenged my belief purposefully, like threw it in my face. And they weren't nice about it. And it challenged one of my core beliefs, one of my core identifiers. But I didn't see it as that at first. I saw it as, ooh, how dare they? I identify as blah, 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 blah. And then I dug a little more and I dug a little more and I dug a little more, just like leaning forward into this forward fold. We have to lean in and then we have to breathe and we have to lean in a little more and then we have to hold. And then the body goes, okay, muscle memory, I'm done. I identify as this far forward in this posture until I breathe. And then maybe there's another millimeter and then maybe another centimeter. But sometimes we have to dig. Why am I so offended right now? Oh, because one of my identifiers has been threatened. And therefore, now I know what the work is that I have to do. Take a breath. Release it. And then hands stick to the mat as they walk back up. Oh, yes. The feet draw in. The knees come close together. Hands behind. And then windshield wipers. If feet close together doesn't work out for you right now, walk them further apart. We are going to be walking them further apart anyways. So if that doesn't work for you, at first. Make the adjustments. You guys know how to do all that. Oh, excellent. Now start to walk the feet a little further apart. And if you need to take this and move this way, and you need to take something behind you and put your elbows on it because your wrists are sore, make sure you do that. However, if you want to start rolling and moving because you identify with a more athletic version of yoga, then you move and identify. So you may want to lift a hip off the floor. You may want to stay right here. I ain't doing it, Caroline. Oh, it's like the Matrix just then. But if you want to start morphing into Wild Thing and really lift and burn out through the body, and you want to move in all the ways that feel familiar, go forth. And then the next time that right arm is in the air, legs pointing left, pull that right glute in so that the hips stack. Right arm reaches up and back. If you need to add something behind you, so this can also look like this. I can lean my forearm into a pile of pillows or blankets. That way I have my hand down here, nice and free. And then if you can, lift the hip with purpose. Left hip comes up off the floor. We squeeze into that oblique. We move into that belly energy. My identifiers tend to live with my ego and not as ego as a bad thing. We kind of throw the word ego around and it becomes an insult. Ego as a builder, as a motivator for who we are. One more breath. And then put that hip down. Sweep the right arm over with the left. Come into a twist. So if I don't have a pile of pillows, I simply turn myself into a mermaid. If you want to go for gold and you want to turn this into a pigeon posture, I love you. Do your thing. If the forearms can come down, then we bring the forearms down. Just realize this fan might be a little loud now. There we go. Might be overriding. Breathe into that belly energy. What has been something that's been pressing you? Pressing, right when we didn't want to be pressed. What's been pressing? Because that's like a little knock on our cosmic door. It's that little, hey, this is here so that you can let go of attachments. Let go of the things that we think. Breathe in, breathe out, and start to unwind. Oh, as you come around, step those feet close together again, and then just let them swish. And then as they swish and they swish a little more, walk the feet a little further apart. You may still be into one knee at a time. That's perfectly fine. And if you happen to be joining us and you're in a chair, just make all the modifications. There we go. Let those arms start to go. Spin yourself up as much as you need to. Make sure you're breathing into each movement. We end up moving back into our attachment spaces in times that we hold our breath. There are fallback things. It's kind of like that old show, Fall Guy. We have a fall guy in our body. Lift and move if you want to. Really get in there. There you go. Squeeze it out, squeeze it out, squeeze it out. And then left arm's going to go up. And we hold. And if you're needing total gentle yoga today, find your cushion, take your time to bring it around, set your legs in your little mermaid, and then reach. And if that's just still too much because it's a gentle day for you, hold here. Breathe into those side ribs, belly space, full. And it's not a bad idea to breathe into ego to expand the space, to grow. Researchers are finding that it's not that most people suffer from an overinflated ego. Most of us actually suffer from an underdeveloped ego. Now, be humble, humility. These are things that we respect. Absolutely. Let that arm come down. Left hand settles next to right. Spinal twist. If the hands need to settle on the knees, or I come out over that thigh. That's my place. That's my space today. So the thing is a lot of times you look out, and I mean, right now, a lot of people are watching a lot of TV. And we are looking at folks, and we go, what's going on? And it's our values, our identifiers being challenged because of their values and their identifiers. So then we have to draw the line, we separate. How far am I going to go with this emotion? Because if I go one step further, my cortisol levels are going to rise. If I go one thought further, pigeon posture if you need it, by the way. If I go one thought further, I'm going to end up at the dentist because I'm finally going to break my crown from grinding my teeth. If I go one even emotional push further, I'm not going to be me anymore. So then we step back behind our line and we go, do I identify with my identifier? Because did I make that for myself, or was that spoon-fed to me? 2 more breaths. These are all hard questions. And right now we have the time. Next time you breathe in, we start to unfold, we unwind, we come back center, we give ourselves a couple more little windshield wipers. Excellent. So before we go up to our posture training, we're going to take that left foot out in front. We're either going to place the right foot on the floor inside the leg, or we're going to go to the top of the thigh. That's not comfortable for everybody. Shoulder blades are going to roll back. Heart space is going to lift. If you want to lift away from the floor here in a one-leg reverse plank, that's where you would go. Just make sure that the back of the knee is strong enough to hold it. Otherwise, we lift, we can plant that shin in the floor, we can lift the tailbone slightly and just hold. Or just lift heart space. Breathe in, breathe out, hips lower, lift through, grab your mirror, and press. Press heart space into mirror until you can't see the mirror. That heart energy sends forward, it digs up through the ego, presses into the mirror. And then once you've pushed, draw the line and maybe pull back and away a little bit so that you can just get that nice hamstring stretch. So even as long as, I don't know, a year ago, not very long ago, I would look into my personal mirror and I didn't like what I saw. Breathe in, lift, lean back into the hands. Switch the feet, either top of the thigh, inside of the thigh. Heart space lifts, press down in the shin, pelvis lifts, or do the entire reverse lift. Shoulder blades back and together. But like my cousin and I were talking yesterday, she's got a PhD. She's amazing. Breathe in, breathe out, press it down. Slide the mirror forward. Breathe into the hands, fog it up. We don't want to see it. We want to feel the identifier. Then when the fog clears, the heart space presses forward, then seeing ourselves more clearly. Then we pull down and in, possibly pulling away from the line in the sand. And she says that researchers are learning that when we are pushed, the pendulum really starts to swing. So the pendulum is in our lives is already swinging, and then we're pushed. And our initial reaction essentially is to swing away from what is uncomfortable. So we all know that. We've swung way away in the things that we believe about ourselves. Oh, I don't like that aspect of myself, so I'm going to go way over here and try this out. Well, then it has to swing back. Oh, now I see it again. Oh, I want to go away from it. Now I see it again. Now I'm coming back and I'm coming back. And then the adjustment that we make becomes less violent within our energetic system. Roll up. Breathe in. Cross the ankles, roll forward. Curl the toes. If you like downward facing dog, go into downward facing dog. If you do not, follow moi. I'm going to walk my hands toward my knees, rock back, and just lift into a forward fold. If you're in a downward facing dog, pedal your feet. If you're in a forward fold, pedal your knees. Heels coming up and away. If you need a more complex version, pedal the balls of the feet. Beautiful. Attempt to straighten the backs of the legs. You may have to come up to the thighs in order to do so. We straighten as best we can. Breathing in and breathing out. And now working with a lot of older people, what I notice is, well, I used to be able to. Oh, but I can't anymore. And so people will tell me, well, I can't do yoga because I'm older. Well, I can't do that stuff anymore. I'm like, well, why don't you do other stuff? Oh, well, I never thought about that. Because I can't hold this anymore, they thought that the whole practice was over. Oh, okay, well, let's try some adjustments. Bend the knees a lot. Bring your mirror up in front of you. Lift the collarbones. Press down into the feet. Mirror slides up as you straighten up. Go back into those three identifiers. I identify as, and you may need to adjust your list. Because maybe what I thought I identified as wasn't something I actually chose. It wasn't on one of my pathways. I bumped into it somewhere along the line. Now I identify as keeping your mirror where it needs to be, high or low, shift right. Take that outer left ankle, hold out. If you need a chair or a wall to bump into, do that. But we're going to curl in because we're really going to be attached. We're going to be attached to what it is that we know about ourselves. So we're going to bring that knee in. We're going to bring the elbows down and in. We're going to curl in. We're going to protect what it is that we know about ourselves. That's mine. It's my identification. And then we chuckle. And we realize how hard this is. So then we expand. We breathe in and we settle down. We settle down. You guys, a lot of you have already settled down. It's so lovely to be around you because you've settled down. Change which hand is on top. Notice if that changes the way you look in the mirror. And then that other leg is going to slide out. Now really pull on that thing that you know, oh, that's me. That's 100% me. And then pull in. Protect it. Squeeze in. If you need to keep the toe on the floor, keep the toe on the floor. Curl in on it, because no matter how you do this, it's not going to be 100% comfortable. So we don't want to be in any pain, but we want to squeeze and we want to hold and we want to wiggle. Oh, that's me as I'm falling out. See, that's me. That's me, the yoga instructor. I'm falling out. And then I release, leg goes back out. So much comfortable when I release the attachment and then I settle into the yoga. Yoga meaning union. And then I release. Establish a beautiful Tadasana. Whatever it is that you need to do. Tadasana meaning mountain. Press down into the feet. Don't lock the knees, but snuggle those inner thighs in toward each other. Pull the belly button in. Squeeze that tailbone. Pinkies slide in. Palms open to receive. Crown of the head reaching up. Breath gets short, so then freedom. Unlocking the jaw. Breathe again. And then wherever your wall or your countertop is, if you don't have a wall, do not worry. Make it work. I'll move my jetpack back here so I don't mess it up. All right. So into the wall we go. Hind parts. Posterior chain settles in. Shoulder blades settle in. I'm actually going to do the bum, bum, bum. I'm going to come forward and I'm going to whoop, pull this. And oops, there goes the clock. Boop, so that y'all can see a little better. My mom says we've been very small. All right. So we're in. Squish. Backs of the arms. Press in. Posterior, the tush, pressed in. Shoulder blades pressed in. Now pull the belly button in. Try to flatten the lower back into the wall. May not want to go there. So snuggle the heels a little closer to the door or the wall or the countertop or wherever you are. Press back and then find the back of the head and see if you can press that too. Pressing back, squeezing into center with those inner thighs. Pressing, squeezing, pressing, squeezing. And then shift into your left foot. So we've trained this before, but we're going to turn that leg out and we're going to press the outside of the leg back as close to the wall as you can. So without a wall, you want to be able to look down the line of your right arm and see the seam of the middle of your thigh running right underneath that forearm. But if you're pressed against the wall, you're going to notice that you go to press and it may not go back there. And I'm going to want to hyperextend my legs. So this is part of identifying. So somebody pushed me in a direction, and the first thing I wanted to do was react. Boom. Well, my body is reacting. It does not want to press into the wall. I'm not used to being there. So then my knee wants to react by pressing back, my standing knee anyways. My head wants to come forward, reacting to the posture, and I settle in. Arms can then slide up. And then if you were to use the tips of your fingers and press you slightly away from the wall, so that maybe the heel is almost connecting and then just the fingertips are connecting. Notice that just with a little bit of support, with a little bit of change in my posture, I may have found it a little more comfortable. Big breath and release. Nicely held on that wall-less posture there. That was good. Roll out the standing leg. All right. I don't want to see a show of hands, no show of hands, of how many people are like, I got to do this. I can see myself in my computer. I need to look good. I want to look like a yogi. Or adversely, I don't look like a yogi. Why don't I look like a yogi? Why don't I look like so-and-so? The magazine cover I saw. So we're doing it with simple leg down here at the ankle or the calf first. We press back. We find the back of the head. We lengthen the cervical spine. We pull the belly button in to flatten out that lumbar just a little. Backs of the arms press in. Find the breath. Find who you are, identifying with who you have become in this posture. Do those three things, if they're positive things, can you find those three things in this posture? Arms sweep up. And then use the press of the fingertips to move you ever so slightly. If you're down in cactus arms, beautiful. If you're still down here, that's beautiful too. You just want to move the upper body slightly away from the wall. So you've just made a slight adjustment. So it's a little more effortless. Breathe in and release. Nice. Beautiful postures. Just beautiful. They're all very different. And they're beautiful. All right. So back to the original side with the original or with that inward yogi groan. Oh, but I got this. So we settle back in. Choose your side. You may want to start on your dominant side first as opposed to your non-dominant side so that you can really get in there. Take the leg into a space you normally wouldn't. Okay, either to the front of the thigh, the front of the knee, maybe to the inside of the thigh if that's too much for knees. You've got support. So maybe I'm going to take this, I could take it across my shin into a place I normally wouldn't go. And then once you kind of work yourself into that, knowing that you're relatively safe, hold on to that. Ask yourself, okay, Caroline asked me to do this. It's different. And am I okay? Am I better? Am I worse? Am I uncomfortable? Oh, maybe there's joy. Arms sweep into a way that maybe I can press away from the wall just a little bit. And then we're going to morph. So that right arm is going to slide a little further up. The left hand is going to come, or the hand that comes down over that knee. So Ori and I are on opposites. The hand's going to come down. I'm going to arch in to that knee. But I've got support. So I've got my bending tree. I've heard this called a bazillion different things. Blown tree, falling tree. Breathe in, breathe out, slide up, and release. Roll it out. Where do I go when I'm challenged? Oh, I do. Unfortunately, I have things that I have not yet ejected from my personality, and truth be told, I can start sounding like a sailor, as the quote goes. I go verbal first. All right, opposite side from what you just did. Find a different configuration than where you normally would be. Grab that support. Grab that arm configuration. Press slightly away. And then lift. The nice thing is raising a child with a little more personal awareness. Now when those behaviors come out in her and I watch them, I'm like, oh my word, I got to undo that real fast. The hand drops toward the bent knee. Oh, wait, we're going to do partner yoga. And then Ori and I are going to sweep in and we're going to hold hands.
Where's your head? Oh, there it is.
Ah, breathing in, breathing out. And when you're ready, release. Whoop. Step forward away from the wall. Hip circles. Ah, nice. There you go. All right, so last bit. You're going to do your tree. If you want to do it with wall support, I love wall support. Oh, it makes me go, oh, I can really expand. So if you want to choose to do it against the wall again, do it against the wall again. The ankles might be they might be a hot mess right now. So you might want to go with a little gentler version, but pull up and in. I'm attached to what? All right, we're going to go left knee out first. Bring it up and in to a safe space. Spread your branches. Hold on to a chair if you need to. Squeeze that right glute. Let the arms go where they need to. And then decide whether you can bend in. You could grab both hands and bend both in. I've seen it done with the hands pressed out and fingers interlaced. You may be here. You may just be right here. Breathe it in and release. Nice. It's nice when yoga brings in how I identify, and it brings it in. Just knowing it's all temporary. I may not identify well like that always. And that's the big thing about identification. I am a yogi. Okay. What happens if I'm not? Other knee comes out. I find the space that I like. I move up and in. Move like you slide in to however you want to feel, to either confirm your identifier or to burn something away. With one more breath, anything that needs to be released gets blown away. Arms reach, we release. Feet step wider than the mat. Arms come up in front, find your mirror. We love yoga for the push and pull, for the yoga, for the union, for the balance. How has my yoga helped me with my balance, my awareness today? Tailbone pushes back, mirror slides forward. As we shoot up, the hands slide up, just like when we were sitting, they sweep out, run through your aura space. Come back in front, we squat down. We use leg energy to press up and out. And now if there's anything that I am attached to that has been threatened lately, press down into that squat. Ask for clarity, for the mirror to be unfogged. Is this my issue? It's always my issue. It's not anybody else's issue. It's in my programming. So I'm going to burn this away. I'm going to clear the mirror. Press up, sweep through the aura space, clear it away. Hands come to the belly. The mirror reflecting back into oneself. The purity and the clarity of the soul. Knowing that an expanded ego is not an unhealthy ego. As long as I lead my life with my heart and I filter through love first, And the actions are clear. Bend the knees a lot, either hands to pockets, hands to thighs, or hands to floor. If you want to straighten the backs of the legs, we're going back through where we've been. Breathe it in, breathe it out, pedal out the backs of the legs, and let the body sway from side to side. And then pause in the center. Tailbone turns up. Heart space drives down. If you have blood pressure issues, don't go any further than about this little, I don't know, 15% angle here. You start dropping down, then you've got possible blood pressure issues. So you stay here, knees slightly unlocked. Those of you that want to walk your legs really wide and work on your horizontal split, walk as wide as you want to go. Those of you that don't want to walk wide, you're simply going to bend the knees a lot again. Hands are going to come down. One leg, one hip. Legs are going to come out into a wide forward fold, and you're going to come back to where our origins were. So if you're in a really wide leg forward fold, work it. Ooh, if you're upside down, yes, breathe it. I love it. Yes. Give yourself 2 more breaths. That's either to stay where you are or to start working your way out of your posture. Because the next space we're going to go to is laying on our back. So curling in, rolling through, make any movements in between that you need to. Bring yourself down on your back. I'm going to kind of turn at an angle so y'all are going to be able to see what I'm doing. Let the body find gravity, have a little snuggle. And then this can be done in a couple of different ways. I can have my knees bent. I can let that knee fall out to the side, arms come out, and then I can hold there. Otherwise, I can straighten both legs, but sometimes the body doesn't want to go super flat right after a big yoga practice. But we're going to go into tree again, whatever version of that makes you shine right now. And we're going to pay attention to our right leg. So if I'm already here, then I'm just going to move that right knee in and out. If I'm straightened out onto the floor, that right foot's going to slide up and in. The knee's going to fall out to the side on an out breath. On an in breath, it comes back up and in. On an out breath, it goes back down by the left ankle. Breathe it in, knee rises. Breathe it out, knee falls. Breathe in, knee rises. Breathe out, leg straightens. Breathe in, knee rises. Breathe out, knee falls. One more time, breathe in, rise. Breathe out long. This time we breathe in to rise. We breathe out to fall, and then bring attention to the low spine. Settle it closer into the floor. And then arms either out at the sides, up into cactus arms, these guys, or up and overhead, just like you were in your posture. And then go through your body. So if your knee is out to the side and the left leg is pointed at, or left knee is pointed at the ceiling, and that leg is going, hey, I want to come along for the ride, absolutely let it fall open into Baddha Konasana knees. But pull in to the union. Identifiers are interesting things. They can actually pull us out of union with other souls. As you hold in your fallen tree posture, and you can make all of the adjustments. If you want to do an Udita B, where you straighten that right leg and you reach out and you hold the right toe, You're welcome to. But if I really hold on to my identifiers and it causes me to be in opposition to the point that I'm frantic or I'm anxious all the time, I might actually need to look a little deeper at a different identifier. I may actually have two opposing forces within me that are struggling. So I know this one is good and this one has been pressured, but and as a result, I don't know why I'm so upset. So then, wait a minute, let me dig deeper. Hold on. What is it? Oh, is it my upbringing? Oh, is it something that I'm holding on to that I identify with that might not be so healthy? And so it's actually, I'm pushing away to keep this one stuffed down inside. As you just hold, notice if the push and pull is throwing you off balance. And if so, breathe into that. And notice if it's one of your identifiers that's really being challenged. If you find that the low back has any kind of pinching going on, you can always grab a blanket, put it under your head, and a lot of times that'll release the pressure on the low spine. So you have one more breath. Really elongate the breath. Bring that breath into union with the center of your body before you release it. And then that right knee folds up and in. The arms come back into congruence with the body. And then on an out breath, that leg sweeps out long, or the knees just come back up together. Equalize left and right. And then when the breath is ready to join the body again, the breath draws in to slide that left knee up. It exhales, opening the knee to the side. Breathing in lifts the knee. Exhaling presses away. Breathing in slides up. Exhaling opens. Inhale draws up. Exhale presses away. Inhale knee up. Exhale knee to the left. Inhale knee up. Last time press away. Inhale draws up. Exhale opens and settles. The next breath that draws in draws the torso and the arms into configuration. And then this is where we start to scan. Go to the skin around the eyes and release, loosening the hold on the crow's feet. Little space between top teeth and bottom teeth so that our sighs can be exhaled easily out through parted lips. Tongue settles. Breath settles. And then draw in with a thought. What do I identify with in this moment? Sometimes it's moments like these where our most subtle identifiers come to surface and we can recognize them as our most healthy identifiers. Connection with self, with soul. Reach in, up and out to God. Complete one more breath cycle. The next breath brings the knee up center and releases the arms. The out breath lengthens. And because we used tree as our Shavasana, decide whether you want to stay where you are, which is perfectly acceptable, or whether you want to start to move toward a seated position. Stay with what we know is evident. Love first. Love first. Filter through love. Love first. If I identify as bleh, without love, then bleh may not be something that I want to hold on to. Always through love. Belly, ribs, and collarbones. Breathing in. Breathe into the ribs. Identify with your sound. Home, heart, family. Oh, you guys are so wonderful, so loved, and so appreciated. Namaste. Thank you, Lori. All right, I'm going to unplug here. Oh, if anybody's got words, we're open up so that folks can unmute themselves and have some little things that they need. Anybody need anything? Everybody doing okay? Yeah? Okay. All right. I love you all. If you're staying in your Shavasana, stay there and know you're loved.
Caroline, are we on next week?
Yes. What? Yes?
The classes.
Yeah. I
Okay.
pretty much plan on running them. But as for the evening classes, I got to talk to Linda. We just had a little chat-ski about that a moment ago. You know, because if I'm pushing something through the act